You have less than a month left to get your badges for Rose City Comic-Con, Portland's premier pop culture event, and they have an even more star-studded roster with indie film icon and White Lotus Season 3 star Parker Posey in attendance. And that's along with members of the Dungeons & Dragons web series Critical Role and Doctor Who stars Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. This is all happening September 5th through the 7th, and you can go grab your badges now at rosecitycomiccon.com. That's rosecitycomiccon.com. The Clinton Street Theater, a Portland gem in my opinion, is having its third annual Hanabi Film Festival starting August 18th through the 31st. Named after the Japanese word for fireworks, the festival ranges from Japanese art house and cult classics to critically acclaimed animations to underseen gems from the 80s and 90s. And this year, they're featuring several restorations along with brand new features, some that have never made it to Portland or even the US. Festival passes and individual tickets can be purchased online at cstpdx.com. That's cstpdx.com.
The Pacific Northwest is home to some of the country's best backpacking trails, but for a lot of us, planning to go hiking and camping for days at a time can feel pretty daunting. So today on CityCast Portland, we're listening back to a conversation our host Claudia Meza had with Karrie Carnes, a volunteer ambassador for the nonprofit Women Who Explore. Their Portland chapter leads groups year-round on free wilderness excursions, and she's sharing some of her best-kept tips for first-time backpackers, as well as a few of her favorite trails to start your journey. It's Tuesday, August 13th. I'm executive producer John Notarianni, and this is what Portland's talking about. Hey, it's executive producer John Notarianni again. I have a quick favor to ask. Please, CityCast, we're doing our annual listener survey. It would really help us out if you took it. You can take the survey at citycast.fm/survey. It should only take 7 minutes. citycast.fm/survey. You'll be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and some CityCast swag. That's citycast.fm/survey. Even if you took it last year, we'd really be grateful if you took it again because we can't use last year's data anymore. Thank you.
You know, Karrie, I've only really done car camping. Like, how many backpacking trips have you gone on?
So I would say between maybe a dozen to 2 dozen.
That's a lot.
For some people, though, like some listeners might be like, pshaw, that's nothing. So it's all relative. Mm-hmm. But I would say that I'm still on like an intermediate experience with backpacking.
Well, I mean, a lot more experience than a lot of people have. I mean, I didn't even know there was a difference, to be honest. When people say they were going backpacking, I was like, so you're walking with a backpack? Like, It didn't click to me what, all that entailed. What do you wish you knew before going on your first backpacking trip?
Oh my gosh. I really wish that I had packed less. I think this even applies just to packing in general, if you're going on a regular trip, but you really only need like a set of clothes to hike in and get sweaty in, and then a set of like clean clothes to sleep in, which includes a clean pair of socks. I think most backpackers will tell you like the feeling of, your feet are tired potentially at the end of the day, putting on a nice pair of clean socks, like as you get in your sleeping bag is pretty clutch. The other thing, and I know you've had some folks talk before about hiking, and this also applies to hiking, is that cotton kills is kind of this little mantra. So you really want to either wear synthetics or wool. I personally like merino wool, but it is a little bit more of an investment because you're going to be wearing the same clothes for a few days, and any type of moisture, whether it be rain or sweat, cotton just holds that moisture. So really choosing your clothes wisely. And then my last thing that I wish I'd known, altitude equals colder. So some of my first times, even car camping in the Northwest, like up on Mount Hood, depending on the month, I'm like, okay, the temperature is like easily 20 degrees different. So you have to know before you go. And that's going to kind of continue to be my mantra as we talk about this. Know before you go. Like, you don't want to be having these epiphanies or aha moments when you're at your campsite.
Yeah.
You want to be having them before.
So what are some other essential tips for backpacking in Oregon?
Know how strenuous it is. Know what your elevation gain is. And particularly backpacking, know whether there's any water sources, because water is heavy and the weight of your pack matters. So if you choosing where either your destination is at a lake or you're crossing streams along the way, it means that you can carry a water filter. And there's lots of different kinds. Like, I think most of us are familiar with kind of like the Life straw, but there's all kinds. I mean, we could spend an entire show just talking about water filters. Also, check the weather. It seems like a kind of a duh, but weather can come in pretty quickly, and it can be a blue sky day right now, and something could be rolling in that you just don't know about. Also, more and more applicable, unfortunately, is check the wildfire status. That is a real thing. A few years ago, I had planned to do the Timberline Trail, which circumnavigates Mount Hood, and there were fires that literally started, I think, the day before we were supposed to leave. So we bagged the trip. And so knowing before you go, and then tell someone. So let someone else know. This is so important. So if it's a friend, they don't even have to be local, friend, family member, just someone that you trust, and say, hey, I'm going out for just one night, or I'm going out for 3 days, or I'm going out for 10 days, whatever it is. This is the trail I'm doing. This is the trailhead I'm parking at. This is the car I'm driving. These are the people I'm with. I anticipate to be back on Sunday at 5 p.m. But if you haven't heard from me by 10 p.m. on Sunday, call the local rangers. If you get in a bad situation, that can save your life. So know before you go and share those plans with someone else. Okay, we've talked a little bit about water. Water's heavy. Have a water filter if you can. So food is really subjective. I will fully admit, and some people might gasp, but I could probably survive. And I have definitely been known to just bring protein bars, because the reality is you can survive for 3 days without food. But I have friends, shout out to Christina and some of my friends, you know who you are, who literally pack gourmet meals. And kudos to them.
Are they dehydrated?
Oh, not all of them. Some of them are. Like, I have friends, and I aspire to get this way, but they'll dehydrate their own food.
Karrie, I actually follow many a TikTok account that's just backpackers that dehydrate food. And I don't really have any plans on backpacking, in my future, because I find it very intimidating. Though I love hearing about it. And that is one of my favorite, niche genres, is the dehydrators.
Yeah, they're super rad. And here's the embarrassing thing. I actually have a really nice dehydrator, and I don't use it. So maybe it'll just be an excuse to have like a dehydrator party and bring over some of my friends. So dehydrated food does not have to taste gross. It has come certainly a long way from like the MREs that we think of, that the military uses.
Chalky ice cream.
Oh, yeah. But on the subject of food, you need to take care of your food and your wrappers. So food coming in wrappers has food residue, bare bags or bare canisters. And even if you're going to some place that's like, oh, it doesn't have bears, it's no big deal. Let me tell you my embarrassing story about wildlife. So I had been backpacking in the Enchantments, which is the North Cascades, and I had this little snack that was the little peanut butter packets that, you just kind of squeeze the peanut butter into your mouth. And then I rolled up my little packet and I tucked it into the side of my backpack. Mm-hmm. And then that night we had a bear bag. We packed up, our toothpaste and our chapstick and all of our food wrappers. And then, we slung it over a tree. But I had forgotten this little peanut butter packet in my side bag. And I put my backpack outside my tent. And in the middle of the night, I hear this like this little noise, and I'm so tired. And I knew that it was a little animal, not a bear. But so I just kicked the side of my tent, and I kicked my backpack, and whatever it was turned out to be a mouse, ran away. And for the next hour, I was just too damn tired to get out of my tent. Oops, can I say damn?
Oh my gosh, we're going to have to bleep that one, Karrie.
Oh, gasp. So long story short, a mouse, again, not a bear, but a mouse had ended up chewing through my backpack to get to this little.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So those two are really important. And they're important, obviously, because you don't want critters up in your stuff. And yes, I'm joking about this little mouse, but we don't want wildlife to associate backpackers with food. Be conscientious in the way that you interact, in the way you kind of borrow this space of wildlife. Not only for your own safety and convenience and comfort rather, but also future backpackers. The last thing is poop happens. Okay, so bodily functions are a thing. And if you're out in the wilderness, even for only one night, something's going to happen. And please, 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 plan accordingly. So that means learning what to do with your stuff. So digging a cat hole, they're called cat holes. And don't just do your business on the ground and walk away. And I can't tell you how many people do that. And not only is it disgusting and unhygienic, it's just crass and crude.
I just want to say, if you're a backpacker that decides you're just going to poop on the floor, not bury it, which even a cat is smart enough to do, just stay out there. Don't come back.
I love that.
Just stay out there. This is who you are now.
Right.
You're just a floor poopler, and that's what you should do with your life.
Right. And I bet you don't return your shopping carts either.
Yeah. Nobody needs you. You're good. All right, well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, I want to hear some backpacking route suggestions. Quick question. What are you doing for Labor Day weekend? Or better yet, the weekend after when the crowds die down? Now picture this. You're sipping your morning coffee on a forested deck in Mount Hood or catching the last bit of golden hour on a quiet seaside beach. No stress, no noise, just the Oregon you love without the traffic. That's the Cascadia Getaway's difference. They're local, independent, and proudly owned not by some Silicon Valley fund or Seattle-based mega platform, just Oregonians hosting with heart and helping guests unplug the way they deserve. And hey, if you own a second home and want a property manager who actually cares about your home the way you do, they'd love to connect. They're always looking to partner with homeowners who want high standards, high bookings, and a hands-off experience. Whether you're booking your next escape or listing your home with folks who get it, head to CascadiaGetaways.com. That's CascadiaGetaways.com. Book a stay, list a home, support local. This Labor Day weekend, discover the scene, the sound, and the vibe of one of Portland's most beloved jazz festivals through a mix of indoor and outdoor concerts. The 12th annual Montevilla Jazz Festival, presented by Accelerator Design Studios, is hosting 25 concerts across East Portland's historic Montevilla neighborhood and Mount Tabor Park. It's their boldest and most musically diverse lineup yet, ranging from improv, blues, soul, to Latin jazz. Some events are free, but you're going to want a Jazz Adventure Pass to experience the full festival that's going from August 29th through the 31st. Get your Jazz Adventure Pass today at montevillajazz.org. That's montevillajazz.org.
Got any fun trips coming up? One thing you probably haven't put on your packing list is learning the language. But with Babbel, you can start talking in just a few weeks. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel. And I also just persuaded my friend who's going to France this fall to learn French with Babbel, but that is another story. Babbel's extremely fun and intuitive. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket. Handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers and built with science-backed cognitive tools and interactive features to fit any learning style. I love a lot of the different Babbel features. The Babbel games for sentence building, Babbel speech recognition, which helps me get the pronunciation right. And now I'm really into Babbel's word of the day, which greets me on the homepage of the app. Every day, a new word revealed like a little surprise with a sentence to help contextualize it. It's like a daily treat for me. Studies from Yale, Michigan State, and other leading universities continue to prove that Babbel works. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. Look, I want you to learn another language. So I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Well, let's talk about backpacking trips closer to Portland. Could you suggest 3 routes, like an easy, intermediate, and a difficult one?
Well, before I unveil those recommendations, I just want to acknowledge that someone's definition of easy could be someone else's definition of hard. So this is super, super subjective.
That's a very good point.
It is. And so just some things as you're deciding what you want to do to take into consideration. So distance, if you're like, yeah, I can hike. I've hiked 5 miles or 10 miles before. Doing that with a pack on your back that could weigh 30 or 40 pounds is totally different. So really taking distance into consideration, elevation gain. So someone's like, oh, that hike is only a mile. Well, is it 1,000 feet of elevation gain in that mile? And that's very common in a lot of places. So really looking at the elevation as you choose your route. Access to water. I know we talked about water, but that can really shift from like maybe a beginner to an intermediate. as well as stream crossings. Are you going to be walking across streams? Is it spring? Or the flow is really heavy? Are you going to, need to get your shoes wet potentially? All of those things go into it. So as far as beginners, I'm going to recommend, and these are all kind of, I think, in the Mount Hood National Forest, the Salmon River Trail is beautiful. It's up in Welch's, and maybe it's first of mine because I've hiked it so many times. I haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm an ambassador with this super rad group called Women Who Explore. Mm-hmm. And we have this Portland group that is just coming up on 10,000 members in our Facebook group. And this group of women is also a really great resource to crowdsource ideas from. And we host beginner backpacking trips. So the other thing I was going to recommend, because you mentioned you're a little intimidated, is find others who are more experienced to go along with. And then not only can you meal plan together and kind of just disperse who's carrying what to alleviate some of the weight in your pack. So some of the places that our group has been doing beginners backpacking, Lower Twin Lake, Boulder Lake, and Shell Rock Lake. I also want to give kind of a shout out to Timothy Lake, also on Mount Hood. And hopefully you're seeing kind of a theme between those. So there was Salmon River.
There's a lot of water. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, there's a lot of water.
The light bulb goes off. And intermediate, that's actually kind of, I would say, the toughest one to recommend because that's going to be super, super subjective. Mm-hmm. Maybe like Silver Star. That's up in Gifford Pinchot. I know that this is Portland's podcast, but really let's just, Southwest Washington is kind of like a suburb of Portland. And so,
I mean, sure.
A lot of Portlanders do a lot of hiking in Gifford Pinchot. And by the way, Gifford Pinchot isn't as populated and inundated. So if you're like me and you want to be in nature and not see other people, which is the allure of backpacking, then maybe you might find yourself seeking out Gifford Pinchot over Mount Hood. I know there's blasphemy. Do you have comments? Because people are just going to light this up and be like, I can't believe she said Gifford Pinchot.
I've never heard of this national forest. I actually had to Google it because I was like, what is she saying? So I don't know who's going to have so much opinion about this. What is it? Why do people, is it a controversial national forest? I don't understand.
No, I'm kidding. Actually, a lot of people really love Gifford Pinchot. It's a little bit farther from Portland. It's not as popular. And I would say, as far as more strenuous, the Timberline Trail around Mount Hood. I'm saying it because I've always wanted to do it, and I got wildfires 2 or 3 years ago. I wasn't able to do it. It's about 40 miles circumnavigating Mount Hood. I've hiked or backpacked and hiked bits of it, because there's beautiful wildflowers. I mean, you cross a lot of streams, so there's ample water, but it is also no joke.
I have a friend who does that routinely when the wildflowers bloom. Mm-hmm. And so that's her favorite time to go. And she plans it in such a way that she ends her trip. I don't know if it's the lodge or some other location where she gets a burger and a beer. And that is what she looks forward to the entire trip. And I just think that's so funny because I'm like, you could just go get a burger and beer. You don't have to wait 20 miles. But she just it's one of her favorite things. And I love hearing about it. I love it. Is that necessary?
Yes.
Karrie, after the long
so.
backpacking trip, your first actual non-backpack meal?
It is, yes. So that is such a funny thing that you brought up because, so number one, it is Timberline Lodge. A lot of them start and finish, depending on clockwise or counterclockwise. That's where a lot of people do it. And that's where I planned, we planned out our whole 4-day trip with, where we were getting our water, and definitely cap it off because you could be drinking the world's cheapest beer, but it's going to taste like heaven. And even if you don't, it could be the best lemonade. Sorry, it can be non-alcoholic as well. But yeah, that burger. And so a funny thing about backpacking is usually it definitely starts to happen on the last day, if not sooner, depending on how long your trip is. But there's the food fantasies. And so, you're hiking back and then you just start talking about what you're going to eat. And it's this whole thing, the food conversation. You can't have it too early though. If you're in a multi-day, you can't have it because if you start having it too soon, it really takes over your brain and you get a little obsessive.
You start seeing your friend like a cooked turkey, like a cartoon, like a walking hot dog, stuff like that.
Right. Maybe if you've been picking mushrooms on the side of the trail, but that's a conversation for a different podcast.
Well, Karrie, thank you so much for taking the time this morning to chat with me and share your knowledge. I appreciate it. You've actually inspired me just like this much more to give it a try. I feel like if I ever did do this, I would just jump on that Timberline loop just because I want a burger. Like that's it.
Secret, you don't have to do the loop just to have the burger.
That's what I was saying.
Just go to the lodge.
That's probably what's going to happen first day. Like 4 hours in. You know what? I get it. Let's go get a burger. Well, thank you so much, Karrie. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Claudia.
That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the show, share it with a friend, rate, or leave us a good review. It'll really help us out. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.